Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we're talking Game 2, Celtics Bucks. Giving you a prediction on that game because I'm trying to more or less keep up with all the series in these playoffs and just, give you a prediction every game and in every series. So here we are. Now, Game 2, Marcus Smart, questionable with a quad, amongst other injuries, obviously. Because if you watch that game, that man was in a lot of pain for a lot of the time in multiple areas. He could barely get off the ground. I think he re-aggravated himself trying to get off the ground after falling. He was already hurt then. It was just one of those situations where it's like, all right, they probably should sit him. You had a situation where Robert Williams, also similar situation where he was hurt out there trying to stand upright, probably doing more damage to it anyway. So my criticism of the Celtics in this series in that first game was just be smarter with the players who are hurting. Don't leave players out there to hurt themselves further and be a liability for you. That's part of the problem. If you're going to play hurt players, and they're going to give you only but so much and can be taken advantage of. You do better going with a maybe lesser talented guy who's healthy, in my opinion, in a lot of cases. So that's my thing. Boston, be smart. I'm listening to a lot of people talk about this series, and they're overreacting to no end. One game, people. It's just one game, and there's something that you can't expect to take place going forward, and that's for the Boston Celtics offense to be as anemic as it was. A good portion of that game, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were looking for their shot but weren't finding it. And when you couple that with the injury issues that they had, you could clearly see why Milwaukee was able to take advantage of them in a lot of areas. Grayson Allen's continuing to shoot fantastically well in these playoffs, and he's not getting the respect from the defense that he should be getting for the type of shooting he's been doing. They're going to have to pay him more attention and get out on him. Make sure that they do a good job of just making him a bit more uncomfortable. I've yet to see anyone make him uncomfortable in these playoffs defensively. So that's one thing. Also, if you're looking at things and you're going against the Bucks, you want to try to do something about getting in the paint and having some success in there. The Bucks did a fantastic job of keeping Brook Lopez in the paint, Bobby Portis and Giannis, kind of pushing the Boston Celtics out to the perimeter and forcing them into them three-point shots that they maybe don't want to take. Boston Celtics are going to need to use Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Guys like Derek White are going to have to try to get to the rim and get fouled. You can't allow them to continue to dictate where you are on the floor. I understand that they have Giannis out there who can do a lot of things for you. Obviously, the players mentioned, they're big and imposing. But the Boston Celtics are not a small team. You got guys like Al Horford, Robert Williams, if he's going to be okay to play, Daniel Tice. They're going to have to force the issue. They're going to have to force the issue. They're going to have to get physical, and they're going to have to bring that fight to the Milwaukee Bucks. Because right now, Giannis is eating and doing whatever he wants out there. He's finding shooters. His passing and his playmaking game is in a level that is at its all-time high as far as I can see. And as long as he's continuing to get surrounded by the defense, he's going to continue to make the right pass. And like I said, it's going to be an easy series for him if that is the case. So that's what we saw in the first game. The Bucks just were able to get those open shots, and it's up to the Celtics to make the adjustment. They're a fantastic defensive team, but in that first game, we didn't see that. What we saw was a team that was off balance, a team that was struggling offensively, and just a team that was settling for three-point shots and weren't falling. So that's going to be the adjustment. Now for the Bucks, you just want to maintain what you're doing. Obviously, the complete opposite of that. Keep them shooting threes, force them out there as far as possible, force the issue yourself, and continue to attack with Giannis Antetokounmpo. So long as no one's getting in ridiculous foul trouble, the Bucks should continue to have their way out there from Giannis's side of things, because they don't have an answer for him. There is no answer for him, and so there's that. I think finding a strategy that works against him, or committing to a strategy, is going to be the task for the Boston Celtics. But I mean, the problem that they're going to run into is they're going to run out of time. You're already down one game. Okay, cool. You got to find something that works tonight. Now the series after that, depending on how it goes, maybe you find a way to win the game. You feel great about the series. You lose this game and you're headed back to Boston. Now you're talking about trying to win those games, 4 out of 5 games, in order to win the series. against a team that's had your number. And, Middleton's going to continue to rest, but at some point in time, he will be returning to these playoffs. You do not want it to be later on in this series if you're the Boston Celtics and you're dropping games early in the series. So I think this is a must-win for the Boston Celtics to no end. You don't want to drop another home game in this series if you're the Celtics. Simple as that. Now, if that is really what it comes down to. These are the NBA champions with the Milwaukee Bucks here. And they have a lot of confidence that they can beat you. They've already done it in the playoffs situations. So you gotta really hone in on good offensive possessions if you're the Boston Celtics. You can't have 1-fers and 0-fers and stuff like that. The Milwaukee Bucks are playing great defense, so it's going to be upon the Boston Celtics to get more out of their team. Peyton Pritchard, with the minutes given, he's going to have to play well. Somebody's going to have to facilitate the ball if Marcus Smart's not down there. Maybe that's Jason Tatum, maybe that's Jaylen Brown. I don't know, but they're going to have to find it. I'm looking at Derek White saying, you're a true point guard. You played in the Spurs system. You understand ball movement, things like that, just from being in Pop's system. Maybe you can chip in with a little more assist tonight. That will help your team because they need that ball movement and efficiency and rebounding. And so, yeah, I'm going to be looking at the most important player for me tonight for the Boston Celtics is going to be Al Horford. Al Horford is a catalyst for a lot of good things that don't get accounted for, both defensively and offensively. He can facilitate some. He's going to keep people off the glass. He's going to win 50-50 matchups. He's going to be, remain vertical and not get fouled and contest interior play. That is going to be on him to draw charges against Giannis and Bobby Portis and stuff like that. I'm looking at Al Horford. He is the vet on this team that I look at when I say, okay, the Boston Celtics, who am I looking at as the leader? Who do I know I can hang my hat on and they're going to be able to facilitate the coach's wishes? That's Al Horford. Al Horford is the man that's going to lead them to victory if they're going to win this series, in my opinion. It's a lot of young players, a lot of guys who are in their prime, and a lot of that comes together, and it's a good fit, and that's why I think the Boston Celtics are the best team in the league right now. But I think it's Al Horford that's going to help them weather the storm with these injuries. He's the one. He is the one. So that's who I'm looking at. Obviously, the stars are Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. We don't lose sight of that, and they will go as the Boston Celtics go, or the Boston Celtics will go as they take them, rather. And I think that them getting out to a good start, and not letting Giannis be the only person scoring in that first quarter is going to dictate a lot of things. They did get out to a slow start. They did find themselves kind of backpedaling a little bit. You got to put him in that position. And I know, here's the thing. At this point, I think everybody looks at Giannis as an untouchable and unstoppable player, and he is. But he does have his weaknesses. You just have to, once again, rediscover those. And I think it's up to Ime Udoka to try to exploit those. Respectfully, the Chicago Bulls were not in a position to do that. They didn't have any personnel that could make him even think twice. Some could say the Boston Celtics may actually be running into that issue too. But no, not when you play the team defense that they've played all year long. They're just going to have to buckle down and find something that works. That's it. It's about adjustments. And when you see those adjustments, then you'll understand if the Boston Celtics are really behind the 8-ball in the series or if they just needed to do some things differently. So that's what it is. I don't think we've learned enough to be as worried as most people are about this series right now. Although I do think it's a serious situation, I also think that game one was just that. Game one game. You just got to scrap it, learn from it, and make your adjustments and see how it goes. So that's it. That's what I got, man. I want to mention the importance of continuing to get stuff out of Pat Connaughton. He's a very important player in this series for the Bucks. If they're going to continue to dominate, they're going to need Connaughton and Grayson Allen to continue to be efficient, continue to be a massive scoring punch while Middleton is out. If they can chip in 18 points each, that's going to be too much for the Boston Celtics if they're going to continue to struggle scoring the ball against a good defense in Milwaukee. So I think that's very important. As long as they can rely on Pat Connaughton and Grayson Allen to hit shots and be consistent in this series, I like the Bucks' chances a lot. And so that brings me to the same point for the Boston Celtics. They're going to need to contain those particular players. You want to try to render the Milwaukee Bucks bench to being average as humanly possible. You do not want any special performances from bench players on that Bucks team if you're the Boston Celtics. So while they're trying to figure out how best to play Giannis, my thinking is to let Giannis eat. Let him eat. Because if he goes for 50s and you didn't foul him, then your players should be able to stay on the floor to match his point total. That's what it really comes down to. Your full team, if they stay out of foul trouble and he goes for 60, you should be able to make more points. You should have more points than that. As long as you shut down the Bobby Portises and the Grayson Allens and the Brook Lopez's. As long as you find a way to contain those players, you're going to win games in this series. Milwaukee is thin. Their bench is thin. They're just getting a lot out of those guys, but they're not overly talented, and they should, in theory, be stoppable. So I'm looking at the Boston Celtics as the best defense in the league, and I'm tasking them with making me look brilliant in saying that, as they did not in the first game. So that's pretty much what I got about for this. That's what I have to say about this game tonight. I do expect for, that's the thing, prediction-wise, you look at the situation, Boston's down a man. They're down Marcus Smart. I don't think he's going to play tonight. If he does play, he's going to be at half mast. I think we'll probably see more of the same. If I'm just a betting man, I don't think they figured anything out for Giannis because I don't think there's anything to figure out. You have to just make a decision, as I said. And when you do, you got to understand that he's going to make you pay for whatever decision you make. So finding something that works for him, building walls and stuff like that. I guess the question is, do you believe that you saw enough out of the Boston Celtics in the fourth quarter that you think can carry over into this game defensively that makes you think they're going to do things in a way that works that maybe didn't? And I don't think so. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't see anything in that game that made me feel like they're ready for this one. However, that's not an indicator. You know, it's about the homework they did afterward. And if that homework is done correctly and they learn, we'll see some good things for the Celtics tonight. So, yeah, man, if I'm just going to bet, I'm just going to say the Milwaukee Bucks are going to take this game as well. It's just randomly throwing something out there. I think the Boston Celtics are going to have to figure something out, and I don't know that they are going to in just 2 days. So, yeah, it's got to be a big game from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown scoring the ball tonight. They got to score the ball. You got to get over 28 points apiece, I think, or make up that difference. Get them 60 points apiece. I think that should be a good thing for them. So watch foul trouble. Grant Williams needs to be mentioned just because of how awesome he is. If anything, I would think about moving him into the starting lineup to kind of supplement what's lacking defensively. If Marcus Smart isn't down there, maybe you can just kind of overwhelm them by putting a little more size on the floor than you have been. That's one way to go. Go super big, Boston. That's one way to go. I would try that. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, it's like, just implement Grant Williams into the lineup and then move others around. Maybe move, Jason Tatum to the one. Maybe bring Derek White off the bench since he's kind of been struggling in a way. And then that gives your bench a scoring punch. And then just like have the big lineup out there to start the game, see what happens with that. Maybe now you're building the wall against Giannis and makes you switchable as heck to start the game. So that's just one thing, Al Horford, Grant Williams in the starting lineup. I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it don't. But these are the type of things that I think Ume's going to have to try. So we'll see. That's what I got, man. BDL 44. Everyone enjoy the game. Thanks for watching me. I'm out.